Thank God it's Friday. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast this Friday edition. It's good to have you join us again. It's been an interesting week and here we are again for another exciting ride. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo with Theophilus Elama.
Good morning.
Theophilus Elama, the one and only. With you here, I can just imagine my Friday appears to be more interesting.
Well, weekends are always interesting for a lot of us, though in our line of
Because you
job, we still
represent
have to
so
work.
much,
Yeah,
right?
well,
You represent so much, entertainment and all. It's good to have you and join the
thank you
set,
very much
share
for having
the
me.
set with you. All right, serious issues this morning though, and one of which is yet another fallout from the governorship election, that was held in March this year during the general election, and yet another judgment has garnered, so much, back and forth. And talking about the reactions that are still trailing Thursday's judgment in Kaduna State, where judges of the election petition tribunal had divergent views on the outcome of the March the 18th governorship election. Now, the lead judge ruled in favor of the All Progressives Congress, dismissing the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Ashiru. Two of the three tribunal judges found that the preliminary notice was filed out of time, deeming it abandoned. Also, two of the three judges declared the election inconclusive, citing an imbalance between the number of permanent voter cards received and the lead margin of more than 10,500. The two judges ordered a rerun in 22 polling units across 4 local government areas to be completed within 90 days. And still talking about the development in Kaduna State following the delivery of judgment in the governorship election in Kaduna State, the PDP is also talking. Now, the PDP says it will appeal the tribunal judgment and, insisting that justice is served on the matter. Theophilus, I wonder what you make of this back and forth. I think so far, there's never been as much speculation or there's never been as much divergent views in a judgment. Of course, it's always very important, from my experience, to sit in the courts to ensure that the courts are even, the gadgets in the courts are well placed so that no one is left in doubt or no one is talking about, I cannot hear what the justices are saying. Because how will the petitioner, that's the PDP, go run or be armed with a different version of or interpretation of the judgment? The APC, on the other hand, is rejoicing that Governor Sani Uba or Uba Sani remains in office, but the PDP is saying something different. How does that seem to you?
I must say it was a confusing day yesterday when the news broke out. I'm sure every newsroom had the same confusion. Everybody had, first of all, the story that came out was that the election was inconclusive. Absolutely. And that the judges had ordered a rerun in 22 local polling units, right. Yes, and about 7 local governments. And so it became a confusion that, okay, is the governor leaving? Or is there going to be a different election in 90 days, also according to the judgment? But later I started hearing that the PDP's case was dismissed. Now, from what we hear in Kaduna State was that the PDP case was dismissed because the case was abandoned since May 2023 when they filed the case in court. So it means that we need some clarity in these issues. Let's not have some confusion here. We don't want a situation whereby INEC is hearing something different. The PDP and the APC obviously have been hearing something different, and so they choose to take what's suitable for them and run with it. But in the coming days, I'm sure we'll gain some clarity on all of these issues.
And that is exactly the point. Some clarity will no doubt is very much needed at this point. Of course, interested parties in the matter will no doubt want to apply for the certified true copy of the judgment, at least to understand fully and to have it on record what the judges said, and of course to determine their next steps, because the PDP, for example, has said it will appeal because it appears that, so many reporters went ahead, didn't hear the full judgment or so, and, initially reported that the election was deemed inconclusive and ordered fresh elections. But then the latter part of the day, we now started hearing that the APC was victorious in their defense, in the matter that is, and now the PDP is saying that it will appeal. Of course, there is so much lessons that one can also take from this. We've also been talking, for a while now about courtroom architecture, courtroom infrastructure, how, judges, how the courtrooms just have to be at par with what obtains in other climes. We also understand that this particular judgment was not even delivered. It was delivered via
virtually,
Zoom.
Yes, virtually.
We don't have, much information on that, but that will make it like the second state where the judgment in the governorship election will be delivered. It was first Kano State for security reasons, according to the tribunal. And now we are also getting reports from Kaduna State that this is also the situation there. And of course, looking at what you also mentioned, the issue of technicalities, election petitions of this nature, election petitions generally are usually big on technicalities.
Yes.
And the issue of time, filing your papers within time, because the judges are bound. It's 180 days for you to scale all through from the preliminary stage of the election petition and even onto the appeal. And in governorship tribunals, governorship election tribunals, the appeal stage rests finally at the court, the Supreme Court. So you can just imagine how intense, how much of a frenzy the entire cycle of the election petition usually is. Time is of the essence.
Yes.
And what people have said eventually that perhaps we wait to see a time in future elections where courtrooms will not be so flooded with pre-election matters, post-election matters.
In fact, I look forward to a time where once someone wins an election fair and square, the other parties just give the person a handshake and say, okay, just in a sportsmanship way, just tell you, thank you, you've done so well, and you have been declared winner. We'll work with you to ensure that the country... we should remember that it is Nigeria first. Nigeria is not anybody's personal entity. It's not anyone's piggy bank or anything. Absolutely. We should understand that if you're contesting an election, you should come with the mindset to serve and not to be served. So we should get to a point where the courts do not determine the outcome of the elections. We should get to a point where once the election result is announced, everyone to your tent to Israel, except you want to join the fray to make the country better.
Right. That said, we'll see how it all pans out. There will no doubt be some more clarity, especially since there's still the window for parties to go and appeal if they are dissatisfied.